Do you think this gets Rod Brind'Amour now into the Hall of Fame?
If he doesn't get into the Hall of Fame now, I think I might go torch it to the ground.
The one in Kingston or the one in Toronto?
I'll leave Kingston alone. I heard nice things about Kingston.
Kingston rocks.
If Rod Brind'Amour does not get into the Hall of Fame now, I am going to learn how to burn buildings, and I am going to go torch the Hall of Fame to the ground.
Clearing the Crease!
It's the Clearing the Crease podcast powered by Ozune. Well played. He is the Calder Trophy winner, Andrew Raycroft, the Razor, hanging out in Ontario. Is that where we're at right now?
Yes, sir. Kingston, Ontario.
Very nice.
Original Hockey Hall of Fame's just to my left. So yeah, I'm in the rinks.
Really? Is that where the original Hockey Hall of Fame?
I don't know if it is. It says it is, but God knows what that actually means. But yeah, K-Town, it could be true.
K-Town, yes.
Good enough for
me.
Go
visit Shea Piggy. There you go, buddy.
Yes, that's right. Oh, yeah, of course. Wooden heads.
Good memories. Kingston Pet, Old Fort Henry, all the great memories there. Absolutely. And let's not forget, celebrating the 20th anniversary just in the last couple of days of his Stanley Cup win. Commie!
What's going on?
Commodore in the house. What's happening, buddy? How are you?
You know what? This has been, up until a couple days ago, this has been the biz. When you bring my phone into it, first off, it's good to see you guys. I had to go dark for a couple of days. From last Monday until I went to, basically from Monday to Monday, I think was the busiest week I've been cell phone wise and like social media wise ever. It was exhausting. Babs. I got Babs.
Yes.
So that starts blowing it up Monday morning. Blow up. Then I'm off to Carolina. I'm cranking that siren looking like a real clown with my afro on. My phone is exploding. People are like, oh my God, this and the people I don't hear from her. And don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful, but I had to put my phone away. And then I didn't sleep that night. And then I fire back here. And then I had some golf. I'm golfing at 110. My phone, Babs again. Because he's like, this guy's not getting cleared. We got more information. I open up Twitter. I'm like, I can't even look at these mentions right now. And then I was off to Gamble Sands on the Sunday. I was at Gamble Sands. For anybody that doesn't know, it's in Eastern Washington, like an hour and a half south of Penticton. I flew into Seattle and then drove 3.5 hours. It's a golf resort. Same guys that did like Bandon Dunes and some of the guys, Sand Valley. Anyways, middle of nowhere. There's nothing going on. Like, if you don't like golf, you're not ever going to go here because there's nothing else to do, like, period. And so I was there with some high school buddies. So anyways, I tried to catch up a little bit, on some text messages. But then I'm like, and the fairways are wide in this place. Anyways, I'm like, I can't do this right now. I'm start hooking the ball in the bush. I mean, I do that easy enough on my own. So I had to take a couple days where I laid low. So it's good to see you guys.
Great to see you too.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get to this because there is a lot. I mean, huge week for the Leafs. Babs continues to unfold. Lots going. We are free agency now. Moves are starting to happen. Interesting coaching carousel. By the way, I'm Cebulski, everyone. And a quick reminder: if you're enjoying the show, the content that we bring you between the podcast, all the add-ons through social, make sure that you are liking and mashing that subscribe button. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and make sure you're following along or subscribe to YouTube or on Instagram, X, TikTok, or wherever else you are finding us in your algorithms, because the Clearing the Crease podcast is powered by Ozune.com. The Stanley Cup is in the books, but doesn't mean you can't keep playing. I mean, there is a giant footy tournament going on right now. You can get down on that. Ozune's got you covered for all the props, game lines, futures, free agency, beyond next season. Make your power play and score big with Ozune. Well played. Okay, Razor, what do you say that, because as we just talked to Commie, he just kind of alluded, he's gone dark for the last week, catching up with friends after going viral, bringing the hair back, cranking the siren. Commie, take us back. I want to put a bow on the Stanley Cup. Congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes, who hoisted the Stanley Cup for the first time in 20 years. But take us back to Game 5. Walk us through the experience, the hair, everything. The robe was back. My God, it looked glorious.
Commie changed the momentum of everything, by the way. He's taking full credit.
Yeah.
Full credit for that thing.
Caniacs, you guys are welcome. You're most welcome.
That's right. The crank turned everything. They never looked back after that crank.
Full, really quick. I flew in Wednesday night on my own dime. You're welcome, Caniacs. Went out and met Jesse.
I love how you throw that in.
Well, I'd like to just let them know that, what? I came in on my own dime because the Delta didn't work for me. So anyways, happy to do it, sort of. Came in, had a bunch of drinks at dinner with Jesse Bouleris, Eric Cole, and a couple buddies. Fast forward, I got to crank this thing. Game's on Thursday. So Jesse's Bouleris' wife, I'm like, hey, what are we going to do? My girlfriend bought a $40 hair afro thing off Amazon, afro curling iron. I've never used a curling iron before. So I went over to Jesse's house.
Wait. Sorry, hold on. You've never used a curling iron before with all that glorious flow over the last that we have seen for the last 25 years?
I swear to God. I understand how this is hard to believe now. I get it. I have never, ever done anything with my hair until that Thursday. I swear to God. Ever. So anyways, that we talked about it the night before. Put a little thing for the Canes alumni in. We're trying to get that going. I'm like, let's do it, whatever. So I sat had a few drinks, sat at Jesse's kitchen table. Kaylin, his wife, her friend came over, Bree, thank you very much. And she just started curling with this, it was hers, but it was the same thing. Started curling away, and I'm like, when it got done, I looked in the mirror. It did not, it was tight curls, kind of. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I look like an idiot. I'm like, this is not what I looked like 20 years ago. But then we started taking the brush to it a little bit, and it got a little bit better. And they were trying to make it. I'm like, look, we have put the time in. This is not we can't do anymore. This is enough. Let's get to the game. So anyways, off to the game. Cranked the siren. Little miscommunication. I thought I was going to have to, kind of wave a towel around or, because I saw Eric Stahl, he had a few minutes to go bananas. Not that I was going to go bananas, but, I was going to pump my fist or something like that. And then all of a sudden the lady's like, hey, go. I'm like, go. Right now? She's like, right now. I'm like, oh. So I start cranking that thing, and I'm trying to catch up and looking at her a little bit. So it was kind of winging it then. But, a lot of fun at the game. Game 5, Vegas didn't really have much. To put a bow on the whole thing for me, congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes. I did not see Game 6, obviously, because I was in Gamble Sands, but I was just keeping up. Sounded like they were all over them. Congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes. They really turned it around, I thought. I would say that's kind of a tough one. I mean, I think Carolina was the better team, obviously, overall. But in a way, and full congrats. I'm so happy for Rod Brind'Amour. And, I could, there's some text messages he sent to the group. He's been very, thank you for us for coming in. And, this isn't about us at all. Obviously not. The 2026 group was unbelievable. But anyways, it doesn't matter about that. But, congrats to Rod and the rest of those guys there. And I would say the big moment that I think I'll remember from this series, and I don't want to, there's lots of stuff that goes into it. But if I'm a Vegas Knights guy, or if I'm sitting there watching, with 9 minutes left in Game 2, you looked really, really good. Really good. And, you never know. There was lots of time left. But, I don't want to point the player out. But the try to reverse the puck to himself when all he had to do was, and it's not about one play. Don't get me wrong. But that ended up being a major moment in the series, because if they could have run through those last 9 minutes like they did the previous 51, they're going to Vegas 2-0, and that makes it a lot tougher. So that's, to me, was the turning point, and then the Canes just took it from there.
Yeah, and from that point, it is one play in the Stanley Cup Finals. That's what can turn it. And really, that play, that game, they needed that game in hindsight. There's no question. They had them dead in the water, second period, midway through the third. Carolina was done, so they couldn't keep up. And then after that, you could see the rest that Carolina got through the first 3 rounds. The last 2 games, that came into their favor. Vegas now looked in the last 2 games like they couldn't keep up pace. They couldn't get it. And the energy that game gave Carolina, the game 4 gave Carolina, but Brandon Bussey gave Carolina as well. It didn't really have to be, he didn't have to do anything, but I think that change just gave them a bit of jolt, bit of energy that allowed them to take Vegas over, because there's no question Vegas had them on the ropes. The overtime game 2-1, you feel like, okay, here it is. But Bussey changed the energy a little bit. Carolina found that energy from the rest and from him. And from that point on, Vegas just had no chance to keep up to the game that Carolina designed their whole team around.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's like, you look at how things played out. By the way, if you want to go to the archives, if you missed last week's episode, we touched on that play. And
we did. Yeah,
it was talked about that being potentially a turning point in the series. Now, Vegas did go on to win another game in the series, but all things considered, it brought the Canes back to life in a big way. But just to watch them down the stretch, just the waves, right? Like, this was a team that through the better part of the first 3 rounds, their big offensive guns were underwhelming, to put it mildly.
Almost invisible.
The Ehlers, Aho, right? Like, they weren't really, Svechnikov, like, they weren't, those guys were point of game players during the regular season, and they basically halved their offensive production. But it was, boy, the kids getting out there, Stankoven, Blake, just coming in waves, watching them, like the goal they generated, that second goal of the game in game 6, they were just like little shutterbugs going out there, moving around. And that just typified what the way the Canes played from the opening series, where we got all shocked with what they did with Ottawa. And then they did it again to Philadelphia, and it was like, okay, maybe this is for real. And then they did it again against the Habs, who had nothing against them. And then it took them a game or 2 to figure it out against the Golden Knights. But Carolina was the team from front right to back.
Nah, no question. The other thing, Torts piped up about the penalty killing all those power plays, and then Carolina, a little bit of karma there for Torts, which is why he never says anything in the media, because the power play torched them after that.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's an interesting, like you said, that top line was basically invisible. Jackson Blake, Stankoven, and Taylor Hall were running the show there. And then the last couple
good
of
for
games,
Taylor Hall, yeah.
Finally,
really good. Like, I kind of, and I got to look at it a little more, but like, you look at the rosters, you can look at both too and be like, on the other side. Now the other side has a lot, quite a few guys that have won before and stuff. And obviously I'm thinking there has to be a lot of new Carolina Hurricanes fans up in the Toronto area. At least they must have been cheering for the Canes, I'm sure. Marner doesn't get to come back and just parade around downtown Toronto. So I'll tell you what, Leafs
Razor
fans,
had everybody
they're
scared with those
favorite.
visions.
Oh,
they almost had a parade for Carolina in Toronto. The fact that Mitch didn't win.
The Canes are doing their parade right now, like literally as we speak in Carolina.
Yeah.
The Leafs should be sending a jet. Hey, can you guys come up here quick? We'll pay for everything.
Leafs jerseys
we just
everywhere.
want to thank you guys.
Typical Gap, yeah.
But yeah, you go through the roster there, and guys, Taylor Hall is one of them. Obviously Jackson Blake's really young. I know his dad. I saw his dad before Game 5. I played with his dad in college. Obviously good for him. And Stankoven. There's the guys that have been around forever, more than those young guys. Like, those young guys are going to get more opportunities. But just guys you see, like that Jankowski, for instance. Like, yeah, that guy's a first rounder to Calgary. When I was there, I'm like, this guy's a first rounder. And you know what I mean? This guy doesn't do anything, but he sticks around, finds a place to go. Rod likes him. The guy works. He's fourth liner, whatever. Who cares? And look at him now. I mean, he's
the captain, Jordan, the Conn Smythe winner,
Jordan Staal, 100%.
That's a perfect example. Like, there's
that
no
guy's
way
still playing. Yeah, no,
exactly. Like, what the hell is that? So it's that team identities. You're right on there.
I think it would be hard to replicate that without Rod Brind'Amour, though. Like, how do you, with no real, don't get me wrong, there's really good players there, but that's going to be hard to replicate.
There's no copycatting this one. The GMs aren't looking at this saying, "Oh, we have to do what Carolina does now." That's the first team in a really long time that they're going to change. That's not changing their mentality, because they know they can't replicate it. No way.
Yeah.
No, that's a hard footprint. And you touched on Rod Brind'Amour. Commie, you played with Rod. Look, everything comes back to wrestling with me as I talk about it. In the wrestling business, guys, you'll appreciate this, but they talk about certain guys who are body guys. The Ultimate Warrior. Remember the Ultimate Warrior, guys, right? Remember the way he was jacked up, ravishing Rick Rude. And then we were all reminded, Rod the Bod, body guy, tarps off in the celebration. My God, for a guy in his mid-50s, shredded. Body guy, Commie.
Yeah.
I mean, does that not typify who he is, though? Not just as a player, just off the ice from a fitness standpoint, but who he is as a coach and the commitment and the dedication?
Yeah, he hasn't stopped working out once he retired. That's for sure. I mean, he's living in the gym. He's at the rink all the time. And you could tell, like,
I'd wear a parka if I was around him, man. I was embarrassed for myself sitting on the couch watching that guy.
Yeah, I mean, when I had to take my shirt off in Campbell River 5 days after we won, standing in the river next to Rod, I'm like, Rod, no, it's your day, man. It's your day. We have the Stanley Cup. We just won it on a Monday. This is like Saturday. It's like, no, he wants to include me. I'm like, no, Rod, I'm good, man. Like, no, get in here. I'm like, God damn it.
No.
And so we get in there. And so I had to like grab my, anyways, basically I hid behind the cup and then flexed my right arm as hard as I could. And actually the picture turned out okay because of the angles and stuff. But
And it was already hurting you from that crank too.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, good for Rod. That's awesome. And I genuinely, he's, and we could segue this into this douchebag Babcock. League's hiring guys like this where all they do is care about himself. Like Rod Brind'Amour, literally, like, don't get me wrong, he's happy to win. It's a good look for him. And hey, obviously he wants to win. He wants to win, period. But like, if you were to ask him, like, hey, what makes you the happiest about this? And no cameras around and nobody, his honest answer would be, I'm really happy for the players in that room because they're never going to forget this. They've created a little family that they will remember. They'll be in touch for the rest of their lives, and that's what's important to me. And he actually means it, if that makes sense.
No, I think that's it makes sense. And tell me this, in your opinions. I mean, Commie, I'm sure there is a bias already, but I think rightly so. But do you think this gets Rod Brind'Amour now into the Hall of Fame?
If he doesn't get into the Hall of Fame now, I think I might go torch it to the ground.
The one in Kingston or the one in Toronto?
I'll leave Kingston alone. I heard nice things about Kingston.
Kingston rocks.
If Rod Brind'Amour does not get into the Hall of Fame now, I am going to learn how to burn buildings, and I am going to go torch the Hall of Fame to the ground. I mean, he has to get in. I don't care what put him in as a player build. I don't give a shit what you name it. It doesn't matter. He has got to get into the Hall of Fame now. There's no question.
I like it.
Okay, let's stay to this. Congratulations to the Canes. Remarkable, right from front to back. I think surprised a few people in the first couple of rounds, and then it was just like, okay, this is inevitable, just like Thanos. Mm-hmm. Okay, you touched on it. Why don't we go with this before we'll get into all the Leafs talk coming up in a moment here? But Mike Babcock, Commie, still continues, and it feels like, speaking of inevitable, any day now the Oilers should make it official. But Mike Babcock cleared by the NHL's investigation. A quote saying, "Our investigation has concluded that even in a light least favorable to Mr. Babcock, there is no current basis to restrict his employment in the league." End quote. Essentially, Commie, we can't prevent a guy from being an asshole from being employed.
Well, they prevented it 3 years ago. However they want to word it, Mike Babcock resigns, whatever. They found stuff there where he had to resign 3 years ago, and now all of a sudden he's fine. So word it however you want. Resign instead of get canned, whatever. I don't give a shit. At the end of the day, I don't want to hear another word. If this happens, I don't want to hear another word from the NHL, or especially, I'm going to give the PA the benefit of the doubt. I think maybe they tried. I don't know. But I don't want to hear another word from the NHL, and especially the Edmonton Oilers, about them giving a shit about mental health or bullying or any of that, because you just went out of your way, tripped over your own feet to employ a guy who has a record of being a bully. It's plain and simple. It's completely uncalled for, I think. You're falling in love with his resume. Oh, he's a great, like, this guy hasn't coached in a long time. And, like, for people who say, like, well, people deserve second chances, Mike Babcock got his second chance 3 years ago, and he didn't make it to training camp. So here's another chance. You're giving this guy, this narcissist, another chance to come in and bully. I don't want to hear he's changed. He hasn't changed. He has no reason to change because in his life, he never thinks he's done anything wrong. Like, go listen to any of his interviews where, he's never apologized for anything. He's not going to change. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. He thinks everybody else is stupid, and he thinks everybody's there to see him. He thinks fans are showing up to see him. So it's disappointing. I mean, I'm not going to let it, wreck my life, but it is disappointing that guys like this are getting a chance. I did get a little bit more info on this if you guys want to hear it.
Please.
Yeah, I didn't ask for this, and obviously I don't know if it's true, but it's coming from a source that should have a pretty good idea. He or she said, Connor, Leon, and Hyman asked for Babs. Bowman talked to them about a few guys, so I'm assuming maybe a Berube and a Cassidy or something along those lines. They demanded Babs. So at the end of the day, to me, if that's true, like those guys, your Hyman's, Leon's, I'm assuming Zach Hyman had a lot to do with this since they just hired his kid in Brantford, which he owns apparently. So I'm assuming there's a good relationship there. So I'm assuming he had a big input on this. But like I said, we touched on it before. Babs is going to be great to those guys. It's not those guys that have to worry. It's going to be everybody else. And it's going to be the arena staff. And it's going to be the equipment managers. And it's going to be the medical staff. It's going to be the people with little to no power and very little voice, like those kinds of people that are going to get abused. So congratulations to the NHL and the Edmonton Oilers for letting a scumbag like this who, hey, he's had his chances. He's made his money. Like, this guy hasn't coached in 6 years, and he's made, like, it's not like this guy has no cash. He's like, if he's out on the street, like, okay, maybe give him some money or something. This guy has made tens of millions of dollars since the last time he coached. Columbus paid him $4 million, and he was there for 2 months. So, like, it's not, he doesn't need the money, and in my opinion, he doesn't deserve the opportunity. He's a bad human being. And I think it's a black mark against the league and the Edmonton Oilers that he's let back in and that they're tripping over themselves to get him back in. I think it's embarrassing, personally.
I got nothing to add to that. No. That's what it is. Leafs time.
Okay. Yeah. I will say this quickly. When the Oilers get in front of this news conference coming up, whenever they do it, in the next few days, what I'm fascinated about seeing is how Babcock handles this, right? Are you truly remorseful? Are you willing to accept that there are going to be, it's not just going to be the sports guys that are going to be showing up for this news conference, right? It's going to be the news outlets that are going to ask questions and probably pointed questions about his behavior and what happened. Get in front of it and own it. Or is this going to be, well, the NHL's done their investigation and I'm moving on, we're moving forward, right? That's where I want to see. Like, does he still have the same spots? Does he still have the same stripes? Or is this guy going to actually own it in the moment with the spotlight on for the first time in years and actually be accountable? Because I think, Commie, this is one of the things that you've talked about over the years, right? A lack of accountability for Mike Babcock. So let's see when he sits down at being named the Oilers head coach and everybody's got questions. Does he sit there and actually take accountability and actually answer these questions in a humanistic way? Or do you just sidestep? The NHL's done their investigation. We're moving on.
Seaball, I hear where you're coming from. A part of me wants to say I don't give a shit what he has to say at that press conference because at the end of the day, he's not changing.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he can play it however he wants. My guess would be he's going to put his good guy face on, his good guy act, and he might say, "Oh yeah, I've learned this and that," and he's going to tell those reporters if they nut up and ask him some actual questions, he's going to tell them what they want to hear. And, oh no, I've changed. I've learned, and blah, blah, blah. And then the moment the cameras are away And let's say maybe he even hides it. You know, the Oilers are going to hire a long tenured head coach to keep an eye on this guy. Are you shitting me? You're hiring a coach to keep an eye on your head coach. A, I don't think it matters. B, that's embarrassing. You have to do that. But let's say I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He'll hide it for a little bit and he'll be, what a good guy. What happens when there's some adversity? When there's some adversity, he's going right back to who he is. There's no question. He's not hiding it forever. He's going back to who he is, and who he is has not changed. He is an abuser, and that is never going to change. He's a bully at the end of the day. He might be able to hide it for a little bit, but it's coming sooner or later. There's no question in my mind.
Commie, two things real quick. I still will never forget a former player who played under Babs, and during Bell Let's Talk promotion several years ago, Mike Babcock did a whole interview talking about mental health.
Spokesperson. Yeah. Made me sick to my stomach.
That was exactly the comment that I got. I got a text from a player who just said, that makes me sick. What a hypocrite. That guy is an awful human being. And that guy's talking about mental health. Like, good grief. The other thing is, my phone was blowing up over the last 2 weeks. Razor, I'm sure yours was probably as well. And so I can't even imagine. Like, these are just people reacting to what you've talked about, and how many people appreciate that you have kind of been the guy to bang the drum to raise awareness to this. And, I think after the first few years of you being done, maybe you sounded like a disgruntled player. I think the fact that you were really the first voice. No, but like in all seriousness.
I did. I'm
like,
I
want to give you your flowers, right? I think people are like,
I appreciate it.
Who was this guy? And I think a lot of people eventually started to listen up because other voices started coming in, and not just like guys who played, 2 or 3 games. We're talking about guys like Chris Chelios, like Mike Modano, Johan Franzen, right? Like guys who had strong, illustrious careers in the National Hockey League to say, no, this guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah. And there's so much more. Like, there's so much more, and there's so many more guys. And it's not just like the NHL level. It's right through Red Deer College, right through junior. I've had people reach out to me that had him way back in the day. And then moving into the NHL, there's so many guys that have so many stories about that dude that they're just never going to say anything because they work in hockey, or they might want to work in hockey. And if you come out... Let me be the first to tell you, if you go on Twitter and roast an NHL coach, you're not getting a job in the NHL. Let me tell you that right now. I
might crank a siren, though.
You might get to crank the siren, and you will get media interest. You do get that. But if you are looking for a job in the NHL or anywhere in professional hockey, don't rip any coaches online on social media. That is not a good way to get started.
Fair. All right, moving on to more positive news, especially in Leafs Nation. What a week for Leafs Nation. And I guess the most recent one, they've got a new coach now as well. But the big one I think people are buzzing about. Razor, let's get back to you. Former Leaf great here. Darren Raddysh lining up with Toronto, sign and trade. 8 years, $8.5 million, a massive breakout season for Raddysh, 22 snipes last year. Your thoughts on this one within the division here? I mean, this seems a lot like a guy who was a Toronto guy who just wanted to go home.
That's exactly what it sounded like. And my computer was like starting to burn up. So I had to move away from the Hall of Fame here, from all the Babcock talk, and then get all over here. So if anyone's watching and might change, this is why. And we're editing that out because my computer, maybe someone was getting to it and trying to turn
fiery
it off.
takes here. Fiery takes.
Yeah, exactly. Someone's listening for sure. The Leafs, they had a big week. The Raddysh thing, everyone's going crazy about how much he's getting. I saw the Illuminati going on, like 8 years is going to not look good in 8 years, but they need to do something. They need a power play guy. They need to make Austin Matthews happy. They need to make William Nylander happy. They need to get back into the respectability here. And the Raddysh was the best free agent on the market. So I'm never going to begrudge a team going after the best free agent and going to get that guy. I think Tampa knew they couldn't sign him. Yeah, no choice. And they probably were told by the camp that he wasn't going anywhere else. So the only way they could get a 5th round pick was by that, to trade him to Toronto. That's the in-division that's the reason why, because he wasn't going anywhere else. Like you just said, Seaball, he's an Ontario guy. His mom's here, like the whole thing. It just worked out for the Leafs. So that's that aspect of it. The coaching decision's interesting to me. I know Jim was here in Toronto, so that makes me think that him and Matthews and Nylander have an unbelievable relationship, and there was a big reason for that. He never turned things loose in Tampa or in LA. I mean, the 1-3-1, we went on about the calls, the way they played. It wasn't enough to beat Edmonton at any point. They couldn't score. So how are the Leafs going to score? How is he going to change his mentality on how he thinks the game and get rid of the 1-3-1? I do not see Austin Matthews and Nylander playing in a 1-3-1 setup. I just don't see how you're going to get Nylander to play that kind of neutral zone.
Maybe not Nylander, but Matthews, who can play a strong two-way game. Maybe that's a little more of a buy-in.
Yeah, and again, that's how you have to win with defense. So like, there's no kidding ourselves with that. But the reality is, it was interesting. They went through 55 guys. We talked about Joe Pavelski. We talked about Patrick Waugh on the show the last couple of weeks, and then they go Jim Hiller. Right? It just
and they talked to Cassidy too. They got permission to talk to Cassidy too.
That
Razor.
That's interesting too. But again, I think it comes down to relationship at the end of the day. That's the only thing that stands out that none of the other people had, was that Jim has been in Toronto. He had those guys when they were younger, and they must have really, really liked them as an assistant coach.
Commie, let me throw this to you for a second here. You've got a back end right now. You've got Raddysh now at 8.5. You got Tanev at 4.5, McCabe at 4.5, Riley at 7.5. Carlo at 3.5, OEL at 3.5. I mean, maybe there's a moving piece here depending on the talk of Morgan Riley, but $31 million committed to that blue line.
Pretty old blue line too, ain't it?
Oh, Jesus.
Raddysh just turned 30, and really that was just his third year really being an everyday NHL, like a total late bloomer.
Good for him too. I like seeing stories like that. Like that was a guy that, like, I had to look up this year when I kept hearing his name. Who the hell is Raddysh? I've never heard of this guy. Figuring he was like 21-year-old or something like that, especially with today's game. The guy's 29, turning 30.
He's your age.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, this guy. So I look, good for guys like that. I love seeing stories, especially, in today's game where everybody goes, seemingly goes young super quick. You get off to a good start. You're signing a 7-8 year deal because they're trying to guess right and keep to beat the cap or whatever. So good for a guy like that. That's awesome. I have a couple things to tie in with the Leafs and Toronto land. I'm going to save it for Don't Puck It Up. But I would say, hey, at least they're making some moves. That blue line is, I would say my complaint here with you just bringing it up, a little old. We might want to get a little younger in a couple of those spots. But, if they keep moving things around, good for them. But I do have a couple things to add, and Don't Puck It Up to tie a couple things up.
We'll get to that in a moment. Razor, the Wool trade. It looks like they're going with a tandem of Stolars and Hildeby, I guess, for the short term now. I mean, do you make any sense of that one?
I think they had a crowded crease, and Wall was probably the most the biggest asset in net around the league. Maybe not for them, so he was expendable for them, but wanted elsewhere. They seem to have got that young defenseman that they're high on in that deal, to Commie's point, and then they get out from underneath Wall's $3.5-4 million, which really isn't a lot in the league, but it will go down with Hill to be making only $1.5 million. So it's a little interesting, but I think they just had a crowded crease and needed to move on. And realistically, the only thing they were going to get value for around the league was Wall. Stolars is an older guy; they're not getting any. Hildeby's unproven, so they had to move on from one guy, give up a good guy to get some assets, and they used Wall to do that.
Should also congratulate the Toronto Marlies on winning this year's Calder Cup. I mean,
there you go.
The Marlies win it this year. Last year, it was the Canucks farm team, the Abbotsford Canucks, who win it. So, look, Canada may not be able to win a Stanley Cup in over 30 years, but, man, we dominate when it comes to the Calder boys.
Seaball, you just took my Don't Puck It Up in there.
Oh, no! Sorry.
Damn it.
Okay.
No, you can find something in there.
Oh, no, you can run that back. You can run that back.
I thought I was going to slip that one in through you guys. You guys got me.
Okay, Jonathan Toews calling it a career after 16 years. Look, World Junior Hockey, God, 2 years there at the World Juniors, the shootout. Who could forget that? I was there in Leksand, Sweden for that one. But over 1,100 games, 900 points, 3 Stanley Cups. A Selke listed as the NHL's top 100 all-time players back about 8 years ago when they came out with that list. Remarkably, though, from an offensive standpoint, only one 80-point season and only 2 30-goal seasons. So, but a guy who leveled up when it mattered in the playoffs. His points per game actually got higher in the postseason. So I'll throw you this to both of you. I don't know if you have a thought or a story on Toews, but first off, Hall of Famer?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
no, not even close. Yeah,
no question. First ballot for sure. I'll start on Toews. Yeah. I mean, first off, what an incredible career. Congratulations. I've known him for a long time, a little bit. Obviously, we've gone over, you're welcome, Chicago.
The paint slap.
Right, yeah. Welcome, saved your boy in 07 before he even got started when that little Russian gangster wanted to take him out. You guys are welcome, Chicago. No problem. Thank me for your 3 cups. But, obviously, junior career, international career. I was a couple years at North Dakota. Chicago is incredible. I don't even need to talk about that. I'd like to, I was fortunate enough. I played golf. He spent some time here in Arizona. I'm thinking figuring out where he's going to be or whatever, but he spends quite a bit of time here. 2 Decembers ago, so before last season, we went golfing, and I asked him, after the golf, I'm like, yeah, what's your plan now, Johnny? And he's like, I think I might play. And I looked at him, I go, play what? He's like, hockey. I'm like, oh, and I could tell he was serious. At this time, he'd been out for 2.5 years or something like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, good for you. Yeah. If you still think, yeah, that's awesome. In the back of my head, I'm like, this guy's out of his mind. Like, this guy hasn't skated. He's 37.
What were you doing on that retreat?
38. Yeah. Right. I'm like, but you know what? He goes through the year and signs the deal with Winnipeg. And you know what? Look, I know Winnipeg had a tough year. And he was, not up to expectations or whatever. And I know, his start was slower, but he got better as the year went on. And I will say, good for him. The fact that he could even remotely keep up, and the fact that he got better as the year went on. And I was fortunate enough to golf with him, like right after their season with him, Scheifele and Lowry. They came down here and they played golf. And so I went, hung out, and then hung out with the guys after. You could tell that those guys really looked up to him, but really, really enjoyed his company, and, would make fun of him, and he would make fun of him back. It was a kind of a fun dynamic to watch. And, and I don't think they were joking, but they were like, hey, because I'm like, hey, are you going back for another year? And, he's like, and, they were saying, they're like, hey, you should come back. We'd love to have you back. I do think the year, though, for him was a hard one in Winnipeg. I do think that was tough. Things weren't going that smooth, sitting there, and he wanted things, he's in his hometown and stuff like that. So anyways, I wasn't really sure what he was going to do. This was going to be my guess just from what I didn't ask him, but I was just paying attention. Anyways, good for Jonathan Toews. Hell of a career. Like we all just said, the first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no question. He should be very, very proud of himself.
Razor, did he score on you?
Yeah, he did. I remember I played the home opener in Chicago and Dallas, and the Rat went 5-hole on me in the second period on a breakaway, and they opened it up in the second. I had a really good first. We played back-to-back, so it was a tough start for me. Got in late in Chicago, and I was going good, and then he went 5-hole on me on the breakaway. They scored 2 more after. We lose 4-1. I looked like a bozo because he went 5-hole on me. No reason to do that at all in the United States. So, everybody scored on me, but for whatever reason, I remember that goal from Jonathan Toews, and it still bothers me, as you can tell from this moment. So annoying.
Such a great player. Congrats on a great career. Yep. One of my favorite players to watch over the last 20 years. What he did at the World Juniors as well. Olympic gold medal on top of that. Just a national treasure from a Canadian standpoint. Wonderful player, wonderful character and personality off the ice as well. Captain Serious.
That's it.
Like the modern day Brian Trottier, one of the best two-way players we've seen of the last generation here. So, okay, fan question of the week. This is where you serve us up with a question. Just use the hashtag AskCTC on any of our social channels. This week, here we go. Fellas, love the show. Studio episode, amazing. By the way, if you haven't seen it yet, Daryl Sittler and Tiger Williams just dropped over the last week. I highly recommend it. Special interview, and there's a lot more of these to come over the course of the summer. Nevertheless, my question is for the guys. What was the best game you ever played? Either you had a monster game or your team rallied back to win or something. Thanks. That coming from Strauss from Sarnia, Ontario. Thank you, Strauss. I love it. What was the best game you ever played, boys? Commie, you can tee this one up.
I was thinking about this all night because I'm like, man. And look, I'm not trying to say, I know I played some really good games, and there's a game there that at the end of the game, I'm like, man, I played great. But for the life of me, I cannot remember. And it wasn't a game. Obviously, if there was a game that I scored 3 goals, that wouldn't be hard to look up because there'd be one of them. So it's not like that would be tough. But I did see a highlight the other day, Ryan reminded me a little bit. I will say, just because it's easiest without kept going on, I had a really good game 1 against the Edmonton Oilers of the Stanley Cup Finals. And I was reminded of it because it was a big comeback for us, and that's the one where there was the turnover behind the net and Rod tucked it in. So that's been like a clip.
It's a wild game.
Yeah, a wild game. We were way down, and then everything, goalies out, all kinds of stuff happened.
Is that the Rolly got hurt that one, right? Rolson got hurt?
Yeah, their D-man blew Andrew Ladd into him, and that was the end for Rolly. Tough break.
What a break for you.
Yeah, but I did. Anyways, there was a couple of clips, and the first clip was that goal from Rod, and I had a nice kind of dump in there for no icing. With the cameras, I'm not even really sure how it wasn't icing. It must have. Chris Pronger actually turned the wrong way. I think he was trying to get an icing. Anyways, and then I do remember, and another clip came up. I made a really good play on a 3-on-1. I broke up a 3-on-1. We went the other way to score, I think, to make it like 4-3 or something like that. So I'll go with that game just because I saw a couple of clips. But, the playoffs for me, I usually played all right. Regular season.
Game 1. So game 1.
Game 1, 2006
Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay, Razor.
No, it's got to go. It's always got to be a playoff game. So for me, it's winning in Montreal, double overtime, game 4, round 1, 2004, won 4-3, 45 shots. Glenn Murray, the infamous slash on Alexei Kovalev, runs into Sheldon Surrey, yes. Glenn Murray breakaway. That was me down at the other end. So that's the most memorable, best game that I maybe not personally had, but as a team, as a group. I mean, you double overtime like we just saw in Montreal. It's a pretty fun way to skate off the ice, giving it to those fans.
Razor, I will never forget that game because I was watching that in the Brook Street Hotel lobby bar in Ottawa, in Canada, covering the Leafs and Senators series. Bob Cole was sitting at the bar by himself, and every time that Michael Ryder touched the puck, because he was also a Newfoundlander, much like Bob Cole, and Bob Cole just sitting by himself, just Michael. Anyway, he's just losing his mind every time Michael Ryder touches the puck. Pat Quinn comes in from dinner with Leafs management, and he's standing there watching some of this kind of go down. There's a few other media types were sitting in the restaurant watching. And he's watching Bob Cole kind of lose his mind when Michael Ryder touches the puck on another shift. And Quinn just kind of bellows out, "Boy, anybody who says you're washed up is way off," and kind of walks away. And Bob Cole, without missing a, "Who said that?" But I will never forget that for that moment, because that was Bob Cole just losing his mind, fanboying about Michael Ryder. And as just a fan of Bob Cole, it was amazing. And the fact he got chirped from the iconic Pat Quinn. So never forget about that one. Okay, don't puck it up. Commie, you want to tee this one up? I'm sorry if I stole a little bit of your thunder. No. I pucked it up, apparently.
No. You didn't puck it up. And this isn't really a don't puck it up. I'm just trying to tie a couple Toronto things together. I will go with things aren't that pucked up right now, Leafs fans and Toronto people. The Leafs are making some moves. The Marlies just won the Calder Cup. Marner fell a little bit short in his Stanley Cup parade. So things aren't too pucked up right now. Let's keep that momentum going into the draft. Hopefully that keeps going. And then into free agency. That's my... Okay. I'm trying to play...
Keep the good vibes flowing, Toronto. Yeah. You got first overall pick. Don't puck that one up. Everything's going... Everything's looking up. You talked about footy. Seaball. Do not puck this up, Team Canada. You're getting through the next round. Get into the quarterfinals. Get into the round of 16. There's a lot of teams. The group play doesn't matter as much. You got to win this round of 32 to get through to the next one. Keep winning. Team Canada World Cup. Don't puck it up.
Yeah,
Nice.
This is the one time, you always like the old expression, hey, I'm just Switzerland here. Nobody wants to be Switzerland right now, at least on this side of the border. Okay, my don't puck it up, Hollywood. Hollywood, make a movie about Brandon Bussi. Come on, this is the stuff that movies are made of, right? Minor leaguer paying his dues, coming a hero out of nowhere, right? Saving the cup run for the Caniacs. It is a story about family, about perseverance. For all the Americans out there, this is the great American dream. From zero to hero. This is a Hollywood hit. Brandon Bussi, making a motion picture. Hollywood, don't puck it up.
That's a great call, Seaball. And you're not wrong. Hey, that guy did, in a lot of ways, I think he saved the Canes' ass. I don't think Freddie Anderson was coming back.
Razor, quick thought on that, like just as a goalie, what he did?
No, you guys said it, and we just talked about Darren Raddysh too, right? Like this guy's gone through the minors. He's here in Boston. I used to skate with Bussi, and when he went to Western Michigan, and he's just an unbelievable kid who just kept his head down all the way through. Couldn't get a spot in Boston. Went to Florida, waivers. We all know the story, but the perseverance and to be able to come in, not playing for 2 straight months, and Freddie doing his thing. It wasn't like he had to be Patrick Waugh, but he had to be solid, and he couldn't screw up, and he couldn't give up bad goals, and he did all of that, and now he's got a ring and going to have the cup at his house and the whole thing. So it's an incredible story, and these guys who do that always deserve it. They're always great people. They're always great teammates, and Bussi fits the mold perfect.
And a shutout in a clinching game.
Good point too. Yeah, that's awesome
That's
for him.
incredible.
Every year there's good stuff. Every year there's always good stories, and there's on every team or whatever. But that is a really, really good one. There's no question about it.
Outstanding. Okay, we're going to bring this episode to an end. Just a reminder, everybody, to like and subscribe on YouTube for more Clearing the Crease content powered by Ozune. Follow along on Apple, Spotify, X, and Instagram, TikTok, because, hey, sports does not stop. Everything's happened. Razor just touched on, right? We got footy going on right now. All the big games, free agency, props, game lines getting ready for next season. Midsummer Classic is just around the corner. Ozune has you covered beyond here, there, and into the next stratosphere. So make your power play and score big with Ozune. Well played. He's Commie. He's Razor. I'm Cebulski. Talk to you next week right here on the Clearing the Crease podcast powered by Ozune. Well played.
Clearing the crease. Hey, hey, hey.